Hey everybody, Rodamon here. Thanks for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included, episode 91. Last episode, we were working on getting our oxygen and hydrogen chilling setups, and we are going to continue picking up from there. There are some things I wanted to do, and one of them is that, well, my gases are flipped. So, the reason I want hydrogen on the right is because hydrogen, liquid hydrogen, is a very temperature sensitive gas, or liquid once it becomes a liquid, and is going to require me to have a short run to the rockets. So basically what ends up happening is once you have liquid, imagine this being liquid hydrogen for a second. Once you have liquid hydrogen, there's only so many meters of plumbing that the liquid hydrogen can travel in until it has gained enough heat to turn back into a gas, rupture your pump lines, and ruin your setup. Now, with that said, you can use insulation. I don't have any insulation, but you can use insulated insulation here. And that is a perfect insulator, which will not allow the liquid hydrogen to pick up heat, but it would be incredibly, incredibly expensive. And again, if that is the route you're going to want the shortest run possible still, because, well, you don't want to have to make a bajillion insulation, but I'm probably going to be using ceramic. Another thing I wanted to do is to flip my aqua tuner to achieve more symmetry. And then also, I am flipping the gas the gas bridges here, so that the correct gases are going where they're supposed to be going. So, something like that. And let's get this 9, because everything's a 9. The whole world's 9s to me. Alright, once it reaches here, Sir Jeffels, mentioned it would be wise for me to have gas shutoffs in case I want to stop the flow of gas. And yeah, I intended to do this, but because I hadn't mentioned I intended to do it, credit is due. And there it is. And then the pipes, now that these are constructed, the pipes are going to look something like this. We're going to have plumbing pipes. The first thing is when the my brain is taking a moment to boot up today. I can hear the Windows noise going off in my skull. So when there is the super coolant coming off of the aqua tuners is going to be extra cold, we're going to run it for a bit around the chilling chamber here, like that. And then it's going to make a little bit of a hop here. Like, maybe like that. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this look aesthetically pleasing. So, like this and like that. Alright. I'm gonna keep it paused just so... Yep. Okay. It's not exactly symmetrical, but that's just because the reservoirs can't be mirrored. Alright, so this actually needs to move over even still. So I guess what I'll do is I'll do it like this. I think it will look a little bit more natural. So a liquid bridge, and I'm using liquid bridges of obsidian, which are thermally reactive. So a liquid bridge like this, and like that, will have to do. I might also move these vents here because these vents are a little bit in the way. And then once the cold supercoolant has chilled the room a little bit, it goes into this holding tank, and then this holding tank makes a run back into the aqua tuner. Like that. So, again, not perfectly symmetrical, but I couldn't achieve that even if I wanted to, because of the mirroring problem. So there we go. These vents here... What I am going to do is actually move these vents. So I'm going to move these vents because I would like gas that's coming in to be right at the heart of the chilling loop and temp shift plates. So we'll get that set up as well. And here comes the oxygen and the hydrogen. So this here, what was these made out of? Ventilation. These are made out of insulation. Alright. I'm going to forgo insulation in lieu of ceramic, I think. And use the insulation for the plumbing line out to the rockets, especially where it's closest to the launching area. Looks to me like we're just about ready to head on back to space. We almost have enough resources available. By the time we get launched and loaded, we'll be all the way there. Wow, that was a quick oxalate fill. Are you already in here? You are, okay. Let's open this bad boy up and get going. Good luck. Go get us some fullerene. So I know that it's starting to look quite complicated. I can appreciate that. I get that. Another thing I'm going to want to do is to... And this is going to cost a little bit of, well, not a little bit, a lot of bit of hydrogen, is to run hydrogen up in here. Again, I will make use of a gas shutoff. We'll put the gas shutoff right here in this location, so that I'm not necessarily going to fill the generator room with 20 kgs of but we do want to fill it up. And then that also means I'm going to need a bottle emptier here for water, because the aqua tuners need to dump their heat into water to produce steam, and then that steam will become chilled by these steam turbines. So these steam turbines are also going to need radiant pipes. So what I'm going to do, can we flip these too? Let me double check. I don't know if we can, but I will check anyway. Oh yeah, they can flip. All right, let's flip this one. I like how anyone can break it, but only one who is many can build it. I'm gonna have to make an emergency because otherwise his priorities won't allow him to build that. Or not won't allow. That's too harsh a word. Will never prioritize it to be built. Okay, all right. Come on now. Come on, Regolith. You're joking me. All right, this Regolith's got to be bugged because I killed the shovel vole that could have possibly caused this Regolith, and yet here it is again. Mystery Regolith that I can never, ever, ever get rid of. Alright, so now it's daytime for one of as many, or probably near daytime. We'll go ahead and, yeah, here he comes, I think. I can see his little mechatronic helmet. Must be him. Alright, and the reason for that is just that we can have nice symmetrical radiant lines. So once the liquid is output, I want it to dump some of the heat back into the room. It's probably more of a run than I even need. Yeah, I'm thinking that's more of a run than I even need. Let me have it be a little bit shorter of a run. We don't need to go ridiculous here. It is thormium I'm talking about, right? So, look at that face. Oh boy. All right, so that's symmetrical-ish. Then these here, this then will go in the wall and then drip. It's imperfect because, of course, these installations are imperfect, but it's gonna have to do. And then that liquid comes back. Oh, whoops! No. Oh, I bet there's a bunch of you going, no, don't do that, don't do that. Yeah, okay, right, yep. Nope, I got it. All right, so once this makes its little bit of a coil run, obviously the liquid doesn't go back into our hydrogen base, so it's gonna make a run like this. I caught it. That's why I'm paused. And then it drips, and I'm gonna have it drip right back onto the aqua tuner, so it picks up heat as fast as it can. Okay, that looks good. See, I got there eventually. Let's go ahead and drink some more coffee, because clearly I have not had enough. I'm also going to put a 1 unit of insulated here, because it shares a wall, and I don't want the heat of the gases to heat up the walls of my chambers. Not that that's truly a bit of a problem, but, you know, it's not. Just a little bit of a preference. All right. So that is most of what we need to do. The only other thing we need to do is to get the temperatures right. So once this is built, what I mean by that is if we go to plumbing, and we would need a liquid pipe thermosensor right before the intakes. So if you take a look at these intakes here, these insulation, actually those there specifically could be thermium. So I will replace them with thermium. But what we're gonna want is thermosensors to be able to know, and those are the intakes, right? No, yes, there they are. So that we know what temperature the supercoolant that's in the system is, because we don't want to make the supercoolant too hot or too cold, because we need to keep the gas, or we need to keep the liquid in the perfect temperature, right? The Goldilocks zone where it is actually a liquid. Too much freezing and it's an ice cube you know, it's frozen, and too little and it's a gas. And hydrogen has a very, very, very small window. So if we look over here to hydrogen and get its properties, here, let's open up the big page. The liquid hydrogen, let's click that. As you can see, it is a gas at 252 and a solid at 259. That's a tiny window to hit. It has to be between negative 252 and negative 259, plus or minus about 2 degrees, because there's a bit of a buffer there. But it has to be ridiculously accurate. For oxygen, it's a little bit easier. If we go to liquid oxygen, there's a bit more of a buffer here, you know, between the solid and liquid, or solid and gaseous. But oof, right? Oof. That's how you should feel about that. Oof. All right. So for that, we would be looking at these thermosensors to be able to detect the temperature of the supercoolant that's in the system, which should be also the temperature of the gases in the system, to know whether or not to run the system or not. And then in these are built with insulation pipes so that the supercoolant can't pick up the heat of the of the steam, because that's also going to be equally important. It's complicated, man. It is complicated. So here in this, let's say, do not run if below negative 255. So if we take a look again at hydrogen. Oh, so I guess I need to talk about the properties of the aquatuner, huh? It always cools things down by 14 degrees Celsius. Always. That's just what it does. Doesn't matter what you put in it, it just removes 14 degrees Celsius from it. So when you're talking the hydrogen here, we get properties. As you can see, we're trying to hit a window of about roughly, somewhere between negative 252 and negative 259, give or take. So at about when our liquid hydrogen, imagine if we have a liquid hydrogen. If the liquid hydrogen reaches negative 261 or so, is when it will turn to a solid. So it can be a solid at negative 259, but it will only phase change from liquid to solid at negative 261. So we don't want to go past negative 261. And especially not in our pipes. Are you tuning this up? No, don't. Oh my god. Okay, whatever. It's a little too late now, but... and then for the... So the temperature that we're setting here is negative 255. And then for the liquid ox... well, let me just click any ox. It wants to be a liquid at, let's say, negative 183. So we'll set this to... if above... rather, negative 255. So if above negative 185. I don't know. Well, we might have to tinker with these settings as we go. I think I'm missing some conductive wire. Yeah, I am. So this was made out of gold. Got it. All right, so the first thing that we could do in this whole system is to introduce some hydrogen into our steam turbine. Also, oh yeah, okay. This has power because it's on a different network than the rest of it. So here's our steam turbine room, and then we're going to want to dump some just water into our aqua tuner room. All right, so we'll get some hydrogen in there to act as a, a gaseous conductor. Another thing I'm going to want to do, if I am getting ready to introduce gases into these chambers, is turn on the power. And then definitely, once swept up, lock these doors. Because initially what's going to happen is gas, it will be gas in here, and if these doors are open and or even auto, my duplicates will enter there and release the gas. So we got to keep that, locked down. Oh, but actually, another thing we're going to want to do here before any of that is to introduce supercoolant into the system. So, supercoolant needs to... I could probably bridge... No, I'm going to have to get in there. So, for us to put supercoolant in, what I'm going to do is just have this... have it split. And then we are going to stick the supercoolant in. And another thing I might want is to have some way to remotely turn off the aqua tuners. So putting 2 switches here and here would be good too. So let's get that done as well. Okay, so we're not quite ready for a true test here or anything. We're just priming the system. And then I'll probably have to remove some of the... I'll definitely have to remove some of this granite pipes. Alright, so we're introducing... Here, let me disable this until both bridges are built. Because I want to have the supercoolant go in to the... into both sides relatively evenly. And then these switches are just a kill switch for the aqua tuners. Which we haven't built one of them, but that's fine. Alright. So let's turn this back on, and then let's go ahead and allow supercoolant to be dumped for the pump. That's probably enough hydrogen, so I'm going to shut that off. We have 6 kilos of hydrogen-ish in there. So now, with it even, it will split evenly. And then we're just going to add all the supercoolant that this system needs in there. And then remove the intake pipes. We're not going to need them. All right. So now that I've stared at that a while, let's make sure that there's nothing else I need to attend to in the base. Everything, it all looks copacetic. It all looks good. Oh, except for, this massive puddle. I don't know where that came from. But I can mop it up. Oh, okay. It's, what the heck happened here? Seriously, for real. Why is there water everywhere? It's hot water. Oh, you know, I really don't know. Truly, I have no idea. Because if they were carrying water to deliver to the steam chamber, it wouldn't have just turned to liquid? I really don't know. I have no idea. Alright, well, whatever. Everything else looks fine except for that giant puddle of water that we had. So this is one of the reasons why you needed to do the space flight, because supercoolant has the property where it doesn't change temperature on its own, and it's very, very, very hard. It doesn't phase change easily either. So supercoolant is the perfect liquid to chill. If you look at the properties of supercoolant, you'll see why. It doesn't become a solid that easily. As you can see, that is a wider temperature variant than hydrogen itself, and it doesn't, you know, it stays a liquid until it gets very, very hot. So that's exactly why you want to use supercoolant. It'd be very, very difficult to set up liquid hydrogen otherwise. Liquid oxygen is a little bit different, but liquid hydrogen would be tricky. Very, very, very tricky to do. All right, so we're priming the bucket. Let's see here. Why were you hand delivering? What? I just saw them fertilize, but I have an auto sweeper for that, so I'm a little curious as to why it was hand swept. All right, so let's put this Visco back into the checkpoint. And print up a pip egg. Okay. The checkpoint's been fixed. Hopefully we won't leak random water. I really, I'm curious where that came from. So, how much more supercoolant do we have? About 800 kilos. All right. Well, we're going to want to obviously move all of it. We've been making supercoolant exactly for this purpose, so we're just going to keep adding it and adding it and adding it. And I hope we're adding water, too. This doesn't look like a ton of water. Now, another thing I could start to do is start to chill the supercoolant. Because both of these chambers are vacuum, so I might as well get our supercoolant down to the temperature it's supposed to be at anyway. So I can just start circulating this. And it will generate heat, which will flash this water into steam, which will turn on these steam turbines. I don't necessarily need gas in this chamber for the supercoolant to achieve the temperature it's set for. Right, taking a quick look, we've got 3 more loads of supercoolant to deliver. Whoa, that is getting a wee bit cold. All right, ventilation. We'll use thermally reactive obsidian here, but not a radiant pipe, because I don't want to freeze these dust caps either. An equal but opposite problem. Alright, so boom, flashed over to steam. It's pretty low pressure steam, so we're going to want to add a lot more water to this. But as you can see, it is kicking up these steam turbines. And it's making a cacophony of noise. Alright, this is probably enough super coolant if I'm being perfectly honest. And the temperature of this coolant has dropped a lot already. Okay, any more super coolant? Nope, I don't think we have any more. Okay, awesome. So that's everything's been delivered. Let's turn this off. And then the next step is to remove the... remove this plumbing. The new 9. And then replace the... there's a little bit of granite piping that should be fixed. And then we're going to want to sweep up that granite too. Alright, there we go. Now we're making some steam. Alright, if we take a look at the plumbing. This needs to be thermium, and this needs to be thermium. So we're almost done. And then the rest is sweeping up and then introducing the gas. $12 degrees, 11 degrees. As you can see, it's dropping. Five, and it will just keep going down and down and down continually until it reaches the temperature that we've set for these thermosensors. But my god, are they not working fast. How about my rocket? Oh yeah, here it comes. I was about to say it. I feel like it's due. And boy, was my gut right. This may, in fact, be the final voyage of this rocket, because at this point we don't have more use for fullerene, as we have enough supercoolant. Obviously, there's plenty in these reservoirs, so we have enough supercoolant to be able to make our liquid hydrogen and oxygen, and as a result, zero these out so they don't get refueled. So now all that's left to do is to sweep this spot here, close the doors, and start introducing gas into these chambers, these chilling chambers. So let's make sure, yep, it all looks right. Awesome. Introducing gas into the chilling chambers so that they can start chilling. Oh, you know what? I might need... Hang on. I can't tell, but this might require a backplate. So I'm going to quickly backplate that. It's hard to tell if that's space or not. It doesn't say space exposure, but I'm gonna install it anyway. Out of pure paranoia. So now I'm going to start introducing hydrogen into the hydrogen chamber, because the hydrogen chamber is all set to go. And as you can see, the hydrogen here is rapidly dropping in temperature, as is the temp shift plates. Now the temp shift plates are going to take a little while to drop in temperature because they're a bit more massive than hydrogen. They're more, dense or whatever. All right, now let's lock this bad boy. Oh. Okay, hold on. I don't have a way to pump this out. Now, this isn't actually going to be much of a problem on the hydrogen side, but I don't have actually. I'll do a little test to make sure that this all works. Actually, that works for me. But as you can see, the liquid pumps here don't actually have plumbing. They kind of need plumbing for me to be able to move the liquid around. But I'm going to do a little test to make sure it works first. Doing a small batch of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Okay, that's probably enough water. As you can see, my steam turbines are now generating considerable heat. Or power, rather. Alright, so this is about a kilogram of oxygen per cell, so cut it here. And that will be about even. So it's not a lot of oxygen or hydrogen that would get wasted if I screwed this up somehow. And as you can see, I have maybe 1,500 or 1,400 more kilograms of supercoolant than I really need. Ideally, you want a little bit in this reservoir, but it doesn't need to be as full as I filled it. I definitely filled it enough. So the watts that these are generating are about 600 apiece. So these steam turbines together are offsetting about 1 aqua tuner. Which is cool, I guess. And if we tune them up, maybe more? Although this water is getting really, really, really hot. I'm going to add some more water. Now, this isn't going to need to run forever, though, because obviously once we achieve the temperature that we're aiming for, the aqua tuners will be idle for a bit. So that's the amount of power and heat that it's generating is temporary. But if you take a look at the chambers here, as you can see, it's obviously cold down below and hot up top. And then if you take a look at the material that I've made these out of, as you can see, there is a clearly... Oh, apparently my thermo aqua tuner is invisible. I like that. Look, it just disappears. Because, you know, it's showing me the mafic rock. But as you can see here, I have in key places the insulation, but the vast majority of it is ceramic. So this oxygen is now negative 50 C. And if we take a look at it, turns to a liquid at about negative 183. So there's a fair bit to go, but we're heading in the right direction. Most assuredly. Now, my only other issue is this turns to sour gas at about... Okay, yeah, we're not going to hit 500 C. So that should be fine. Ooh. Nothing like coming up here and getting bombarded. Alright, let's pull the petroleum out of that. And dirt, I guess. It's fascinating to watch, right? It seems so complicated to be able to chill your hydrogen and your oxygen, but it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple process of just... That might be enough water. Of just running coolant through a cloud of gas. Let's take a look at the power I'm using now. Yeah, that's, it's definitely power hungry. Without a doubt. Oh, you know what? One thing I haven't checked on is down here. Oh yeah, so we have all the polluted oxygen that got released from the sporkid seed spot that now we are trying to pump out. If we take a look at the gas overlay here, we do have pockets of vacuum, so we're pretty close to pulling it all out. As you can see, it's only 9 micrograms. So a little bit more over here. But obviously turning off these pumps would save me power. I'm just going to see, let me see if I need to save. No, currently I don't feel like I need to save power. Our batteries look fine. Our hydrogen natural gas amounts look fine. So we'll just keep on rocking. Super coolant's down to negative 77C. And it's getting chiller and chiller. Wow, that was a big meteorite strike. Look at all this material that got dumped on me. That is no joke. Now let me check priorities here. I don't even know what my priorities are anymore. Like what my guys are working on. So I guess while I wait for things to happen, it's a good time to just set 5s to things I don't much care about. Some of these things can't be 5s. Actually, that needs to be like an 8. But going through and making sure that it's all correct can be a pain. Oh, it's getting colder and colder. Those steam turbines are going a little haywire, huh? Another thing that I could do, let me check my, so for thermium, I'm just waiting on tungsten. I might as well just get more thermium. It's useful to have it. So let's go search metals. Go to the cold biomes. It will be this light blue stuff. I'm going to see if there's like a nice, let me zoom out. All right, there's a pretty decent amount of it here. There. And funny enough, this is not even in my base. This is, I mean, not even outside of my base. This is technically inside the base, as you can see. So we're not even, we're going to get a little hypothermic, I think, but this cold biome here, I've kept inside the base the whole time. Well, right on. All right, the chilling effect of my air conditioning. Oh, you know, it probably... This water, at least I know what it came from. It was melting ices that overflowed my my water filtration. And speaking of water filtration, let's run a cycle. Still no germs in my water? Nope. All right, germs to 0 and 0. Let's go. Well, that will be a lot of thermium that I'm additionally making. Our steel is waiting on lime, and, you know, I really just don't. Unless I go hunting for the last of the fossil that exists in this map tile, I'm just not going to find it. I also, taking a look here, looks like my my radiant piping has hit equilibrium at about 67C, which is great. That's cold enough that it will be effective as coolant for stuff like the natural gas generators or the auto sweepers. And it doesn't require aqua tuners. My hydrogen and my oxygen's down to negative 118. Same with the hydrogen. So it is, that is noisy, but it's heading into the right direction. So there's not much I need to do there. My base doesn't need me right now. I guess we're just sweeping up space. Oh, strikes incoming. So how does the strikes... Let me take a look at my batteries. Yeah, I can see the kilojoules struggling to keep up when the strikes come in, but it's not so bad. Alright, there's a lot of sweeping to do because I replaced some of the ventilation here. But one of the positive things is the chilled hydrogen stays... No, it picks up a lot of heat. Never mind. Man, it picks up a lot of heat. Yeah, as you can see, the insulated gas pipe doesn't... They're not perfectly insulated, so they do pick up considerable heat. Man, why is there so much oxygen coming off this line here? Because the tanks fill up. The line's back up. Well, whatever. It gets pumped out here. As long as this doesn't overpressurize, which currently it isn't. We should be fine. But it is a filtration problem that I'm probably going to want to solve eventually. Because there's a ton of oxygen here that just, you know. This is high pressure oxygen, like eardrum popping oxygen. All right, so the generators are too hot. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to hit the steam. I'm turning off the aqua tuners for a bit so that the generators don't cook themselves because they're having trouble being too hot. Another thing I could do is to introduce a little bit more hydrogen. Fresh, chilled hydrogen into them. And as you can see, it's already having a bit of an effect. As you can see, the turbines are running a little bit better. It's an impermanent solution, one that might require coolant. Now, I've seen some setups of this where you end up using the liquid oxygen as coolant. But I'm not going to set that up unless it's absolutely needed. Because I think the aqua tuners mostly, the struggle is mostly just the initial getting the supercoolant down to temperature. And then the aqua tuners won't have to run as much. So it's these problems that sort of work themselves out, you know, in time. It's also possible because I set it up. I'm going to let the steam chill. And actually, I could even put maybe a little bit more water in it. But as you can see, just dumping more cooler hydrogen in has worked. There's some other solutions, which is to run that hydrogen gas and circulate it or whatever. But I'm not too concerned. As you can see, it is now running smoothly. And because they've both been tuned up, both generators are generating a lot of power. 1.28 kilowatts apiece, which is the equivalent of both aquatuners running. So it is almost a power neutral situation. Which is kind of nice. And we'll just keep letting it run for a little bit to delete more of the heat out of the steam so that we don't blow our jennies. But I will start to let the oxygen line go. I'm looking at the clock and I see that I'm near out of time, so I'd like to get to a point where I have liquid oxygen. And we'll just keep an eye on the temperature of the steam here. It's 200 C. And as long as it doesn't go up too high, we can let it run. And introducing additional cooler water will help chill the steam as well. Now, you don't want to overstuff your steam chamber either. So I got to be careful because that's also an impermanent solution. Now the steam turbine's like, you know what? I could go for a little bit hotter. You're on, man. Now, yes, there is, I could possibly automate this with temperatures to make sure it's running smoothly, but right now, because I'm not really doing anything else in the base, I might as well pay attention to this full time. This can be my sole focus for a bit. And our oxygen is getting pretty close to its liquid phase change point. So at about negative 285, it's going to phase change. And we're about negative 250 or so. Just a few more degrees. Delivering dirt here is not worth the effort because we're not using this checkpoint anymore. So let me just dig them all up. All right, steam's holding, hydrogen is holding, everything looks okay. My hydrogen, I can't introduce any more into the line. It's basically max pressure. But yeah, the oxygen's getting mighty close to its freeze point, which is honestly very exciting. Okay, the water filtered. How's my little 8 and 8? Perfect. I guess they're younger, so they're not... They're a little glum. But as long as I can shear them from time to time, I think we're fine. Temperature looks good. The change for the dust caps are helpful. They're not deep freezing anymore. And the chilling effect of my oxygen can be seen most notably here, where if you zoom in, you can see this oxygen sort of stagnating, which is why it's chilling the most there. All right, oxygen is very, very close to its freeze point. The turbines get a little too hot. So I'm going to cut. I guess I'm going to cut all the heat. Oh, we're at like the 1 yard line here. Yeah, I might have to think about a way to cool this. Cool these turbines. Because the turbines themselves... Oh god, that is really noisy. What temperature are they at? It's kind of hard to tell. Alright, well... I may have to engineer a solution for that. It'll be something I keep an eye on. Using maybe some of the coolant from the oxygen or something. Now I'm just going to let them overheat. Because I want to get my oxygen. Oh yeah, here we go. Here it is. See all that dripping? Yep, that's the condensation. There it is. Liquid oxygen. Right there. Not very much of it, of course. But that is progress right there. So the hydrogen, if I let this run more on the right, would do the same thing. It would eventually become... It would flash over from a gas to a liquid. And one of the reasons why I have a mechanized airlock here is once it becomes all liquid, it can't then outgas to space. It's a liquid. Liquids don't outgas like that, so... And if I run this long enough, you'll see the aquatuner start to reject the thermium, because the thermium is going to get up, or not the thermium, the supercoolant, because the supercoolant will get to the temperature it's slated to be and not chill any farther. So we're getting very, very, very close to that negative 185 threshold. There it is. And if I, well, I could just... At this point, my supercoolant is at the temperature I've set it at, which is exactly why this here is vacuum. If you take a look at the gas overlay here, there is no gas in this room anymore, because all the gas that I put in this room is now liquid oxygen on the basin of this floor, which is where this liquid pump comes in, where I can you know, pump it into my rockets as fuel. And we'll be doing the same thing to the hydrogen. I will need to figure out, obviously, a way to cool this a little bit better. But now that I've hit the temperature for liquid oxygen, the aquatuner is not going to be it's not going to be one of these things where they run full time. Well, guys, that is all the time I have. I'm very happy that I hit liquid oxygen in this episode. Next episode, you're likely to see me set up better coolant for my hydrogen, so that the you know, that the steam turbines aren't struggling to delete heat, or alternative. Well, yeah, I'll probably have to cool that hydrogen down. I don't think there's another alternative. If you have any feedback for me, let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next episode. Farewell.